Broadcasting live from the Subaru of Gwinnett studio inside the Sonesta Gwinnett Place Atlanta Hotel. It's time for Gwinnett Business Radio. Gwinnett Business Radio is cared for by Eastside Medical Center, providing quality care to Gwinnett County and the greater Atlanta area for over 38 years.
And hello again, everybody, and welcome to Gwinnett Business Radio. We are broadcasting live from the Subaru of Gwinnett studio in the beautiful Sonesta Gwinnett Place Atlanta Hotel. Mike Salmon alongside Stephen Julian. How are you, Stephen?
I am better than I deserve. How are you, Mike?
I'm doing very well. You know, we've got a packed house today.
Man, we are full. We're packed to the rafters.
3 local businesses are joining us for the program today.
Packed to the gills.
From InFocusPlus, Amy Fuchs and Jen Falk. From Diesel Barbershop,
standing room only,
Pete Briggs. And from Impeccable Details Staging and Redesign,
I'm going to have to bail water. It's so full.
Martha Moore.
I'm out. That's it. I got nothing else. So
Thank God.
Let's do what's really important and talk to the wonderful business owners and guests that we have in the studio.
Let's get going. InFocusPlus is our first company here. Amy Fuchs and Jen Falk are the business partners and co-owners. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Tell us about InFocusPlus and what you do. I kind of read about what you did a little research, and it's pretty interesting. Tell us what you guys do.
So we connect homeowners and business owners with the entertainment industry for the purpose of on-site filming locations and short-term housing.
So if I want my house to be used for a movie or a TV show or something, you might be able to make it happen.
Absolutely.
You kind of connect the homeowner with the movie folks, the TV folks, and so forth.
That's what we do.
How did this all come about?
Well, it's sort of interesting. Jen and I are also business partners in our real estate business, and when the tax incentives started coming to Georgia a few years ago, we started getting calls from the industry on our listings, and they were looking for on-site film locations and short-term housing, and Georgia just didn't have any infrastructure for that at the time. So as we seemed to get more and more calls, we saw that there was business here, and that's how we got started.
Now, I noticed that the first thing you said was locations, both commercial and residential, for filming and housing. If I were the homeowner, I'd be, you're going to use my house to film? No, actually, in this case, we want to use your house to let people stay there. What's the breakdown? Is it kind of half and half? Is it more housing than filming? Talk about that.
Well, you get to choose how you want your house listed on our website for either or both. So you get, if you're don't want to move out for $10,000, then we'll be happy to try and rent your house for an on-site film location.
Okay, so you do get that choice. That's cool. How long do a lot of these scenarios last?
An on-site film location can be a day, a week. Sometimes we work with reality shows. They might want the house for 6 weeks or so. So it can be any length of time. It could be a reoccurrence, like we work with the resident, and so one of the characters' homes is one of our locations. They come back a few days every couple of months.
I'm thinking as the homeowner, if people come in and they knock things over, break things, is there insurance that you guys provide?
No, there's insurance that the production provides. So everybody will get a certificate of insurance and will be made whole by the insurance if something happens.
Well, share with us a couple projects, maybe some of the first projects you've worked on.
Sure. An interesting story. When we first did the proof of concept with our brokerage, we were challenged to say, go ahead and get a project and we'll begin to work slowly. So that meeting ended at 11, and by 3 o'clock we came back with Fox TV on The Resident. So, that was a really interesting story of how we first started. We also worked recently on a large film in Madison and Covington. So while our work is focused here in Gwinnett and Metro Atlanta, we're also one of the only corporations that offers this service outside of Metro Atlanta.
So that proof of concept story might be one of the most unique we've ever heard. Inside of 4 hours, you got that. But you've been doing this for a little while now. I'm assuming not every time it happens inside of 3 to 4 hours. So how are you finding new locations, and how are you networking both with the homeowners and with the studios?
Well, we actually are unique in the way that we kind of invite everybody along for the ride in our business. So as realtors, we know many, many locations, but sometimes we don't have exactly what the script calls for. So we utilize our network of realtors and we invite them to have their clients, their families, their customers on our website as well, and we pay them a referral fee. So if we don't have exactly what they're looking for, we have a vast reach of people to help us find it very quickly.
And from marketing to productions, the actual entertainment industry, the business really is a referral person to person based on experience and how you performed last. But this year we're employing a strategy, as many of your listeners may not know, there's a global shortage of sound stages. And so our strategy is to connect with production houses, sound stages directly, and piggyback off of the productions that they have typically set for anywhere from a year to 2 years in advance.
We've had a couple, come through here at Business RadioX, and they seem to, production stages seem to be popping up all over Atlanta now that we're becoming the Hollywood of the East, if you will. Talk about maybe some of the things that you have surprised you since getting into this business. I think a lot of folks think, the entertainment industry is so exciting, and sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't, but maybe some things that have surprised you, and maybe something you would have changed if you were starting all over again.
Well, we are fairly new, just about a year and a half. So, I think our biggest thing that we would have changed was really believing in ourselves. When we first started looking into the research, we saw that there was other cities like ours that were popping up with this need because of tax breaks there. And when we started, we were actually in Focus, Georgia. We thought we were just going to be here. Well, this year we're expanding to 9 cities and 2 other countries, and had we had the foresight to say, hey, if it works here, why wouldn't it work there, we would have branded ourselves InFocusPlus from the beginning.
And from my perspective, I think one of the biggest surprises is that there really was no infrastructure in place to help the entertainment industries navigate states or cities that they go to that they don't already have the infrastructure as they do in LA and New York. And as we just kept going along the business, I think Amy and I would just look at ourselves and say, I just can't believe that nobody else is as aggressively pursuing this business and the need.
So one question I wanted to ask is, you talked about the network of realtors that you've been able to kind of talk to, and contacts you already had, new ones you've made, and that they've been a great resource. So we're Gwinnett Business Radio here on Business RadioX, and a lot of business owners and business leaders listen to our shows, and many of them have some commercial property. Is it possible for individuals, and even on the residential side, but especially I'm thinking on the business side, hey, I own my building, I own this space of the building, can they network with you guys?
Absolutely, and we would love for them to come to InFocusPlus.com and sign up their site. Commercial spaces are in high demand, and anything that can mimic a jail cell, a police station is fantastic. We rent warehouses for music videos. There's just a gigantic demand for commercial space, and many businesses don't have the opportunity to maybe close down for a day or two, even for a significant sum. So any opportunities that we have, if you're closed Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that would be a great opportunity for them to film.
And if they use the code Business Radio X, then you'll have Mike and I come and be extras on the whatever's being filmed.
Absolutely.
And Amanda, our producer. Yeah,
absolutely.
Do you need a podcast studio?
We do. We would love it.
All right, here you go.
Mike, do you know of a good one?
No.
Well, we've got this one.
Was just asking.
Yeah, I know.
Yes. As you mentioned already, looking into other cities and 2 other countries and so forth. I mean, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? I mean, are you going to be, I was watching some of the Oscars the other day. Am I going to see you up there? You're going to be working with all the stars, Brad Pitt and all that?
Can I say Disney World is where we'll be?
I like that.
I mean, it's got to be exciting to think how big you can grow this, because, as you said, you're surprised nobody else is really aggressively pursuing this. What did they do in the past where they'd go into a market and they say, does anybody know anybody local that we could, how was it done before you guys came along?
Well, when we first started doing research, we called some of the so-called agents to the stars to find out what they were doing, and most of them were in New York and California. And in California, they said, we don't need anything like this because they all have a house here. So there is no need for it, so to speak, out there. But as far as other places, there isn't a huge market of people doing this, and that's why we're going there.
I have no big knowledge other than watching background stuff on my favorite TV shows. And I know you would have a set person who would go to location and kind of set everything up, but they'd be going in blind. Maybe they had some contacts and maybe they'd use, but what you guys have walked into is the growth, the explosion of growth here in Atlanta over the last 10 years. And you've been able to kind of take advantage of that. And I love how you're expanding into now what's happening, which is, hey, if we did it in Atlanta, why couldn't, and there's so many more shows and so many more locations, and not just a one-time, a one-off. It's becoming more and more growth. So I love how you dropped the InFocus Atlanta and now it's InFocusPlus. What are some of the other cities that are really starting to explode right now?
So we're headed up to the Hudson Valley region, where they just opened up Umber Studios, which is a very large sound stage. We're next targeting in North America based on pre-production database information, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and Albuquerque. One of the things that drives kind of the instant explosion of business, or we say instant, is the tax credit regulations. And so some cities and some states are more generous than others. We're also headed to London in May and Madrid after that. So, from a location standpoint, one thing I want to bring back is when I talked about the infrastructure that currently exists in California, or LA, if they're coming to Atlanta and they have 14 different locations in one episode of a pilot, they use current location scouts. We're not here to replace them. We're here to make them more efficient because we're the local experts on what's available, what they need. Script changes happen, as you may guess,
I like that. Working
right away.
Together.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
That's
Perfect. Good. And before we let you go, you dropped at the beginning, Amy, you said $10,000. And I'm sure people out there listening go, okay, if I do rent out my house for a week, or they use my house or my office or my barber shop for a day. I mean, talk a little bit about that side of it, because I mean, that's where people's ears will perk up a little bit.
Sure. So, I mean, absolutely anything can be an on-site film location, and people have the misconception that they're only using mansions. They're not. The bad guy's house is not a mansion. So, people can make between $500 and $5,000 a day on average. Mansions will go for $10,000 in excess. So it is quite lucrative, and they could be filming for 2 or 3 days plus setup. And so it can be a nice paycheck for somebody. As you walk out the door to go to work, your house can start making you some money. For short-term housing, it could be, anywhere from $3,000 to $75,000 a month, depending on the person and the location.
I'm going to be signed up before the show is over.
So I have to do the next 2 interviews while you're going online and sign up?
Hypothetical question. Let's just say a remake of an 80s program wants to use a podcast studio, and they're checking it out and want to use it for a couple days. How much should that podcast studio owner charge the company that's looking to do this 80s remake that's already on TV, by the way? Hypothetical. I completely just thought of this out of the thin air.
Is this 80s remake TV show like really part of a almost like a sports team that wins over and over again?
Like Carrington's, like Dinah?
Yeah. What? Huh?
No.
Dinah? Okay.
I'm completely making this up.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
This really hasn't happened. It has, but that's what I'm asking. How much should I ask when these folks come back?
So when you initially come out, the production will have a budget, and we'll let you know what they're willing to pay, and maybe advise you if we think that's acceptable or not. The first time you won't have that much leverage, but if they want to come back, then you have a little leverage for negotiating your budget.
So yeah, you have to play ball.
Gotcha.
And then you can play hardball.
I got you.
Sounds like what you need is to work with InFocusPlus.
I may have, yeah, absolutely. Well, Amy and Jen, thank you so much. For those that would like to find out more about InFocusPlus, where can they get that information?
Go to InFocusPlus.com, and that is InFocus, Plus, spelled out, InFocusPlus.com. Thank you.
Sounds great. Amy, Jen, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Mike, before we get to our next guest, I want to remind everybody that Gwinnett Business Radio does broadcast live from the Subaru of Gwinnett studios. And you've heard me say, and Mike say, and even Amanda say many times, how love is what makes a Subaru. But I wanted to point out that if you went to the SubaruofGwinnett.com website, you would see that the 2019 Subaru Love Promise Customer and Community Commitment Award was awarded to Subaru of Gwinnett. They've been nationally recognized for their dedication to their customers, their community, and the Subaru Love Promise. Subaru is about more than just selling great cars. They're also about showing and spreading love in the community.
And I hope you saw the big news recently where Subaru of Gwinnett has renewed their naming rights with us for 2 more years.
I did see that news on our social media.
So we're stuck doing this for 2 more years.
Not stuck. We are blessed to do this
there
for
you
2
go.
more years.
Well, good job there.
Thanks.
Our next guest is Pete Briggs. He is the owner of Diesel Barbershop, and they have locations all over, but there's also one here in Suwanee off McGinnis Ferry Road, right, Pete?
That's right, Suwanee Jones Creek.
Tell us all about Diesel Barbershop.
Yeah, Diesel Barbershop is a man cave for haircuts. It's geared towards guys who are tired of kind of the in-and-out experience at some of the fast haircut places. Looking for just something that is more geared towards men, somewhere where they can relax, get something to drink, maybe play an arcade game while they're waiting, watch the game while they're getting a haircut. And also guys that are not that are tired of going to women's salons, where obviously it's kind of geared towards the women, and so you might feel like a fish out of water there. So.
Tell us where the location is in Suwanee, exactly where you're located there, and the other locations in the metro Atlanta area.
Yeah, in Suwanee, it's on McGinnis Ferry Road, about halfway between Peachtree Industrial and 141. The other locations are Midtown, Dunwoody, East Cobb, Perimeter, and then there's one at Halcyon.
He passed that test very well. He did have to do the fingers on the hand, but you did that very well.
Yeah,
There's a lot of them. Yeah. Ask me the birth dates of my 3 boys, and I'd be doing that. I'd have to take a minute.
I've got 4 kids, so I know the struggle.
Speaking of which, do you do kids' haircuts?
We do kids' haircuts. We're targeted towards men, so we actually don't have a special price for the kids. As I'm going to describe, it's it's an experience. It's not just a haircut. They get the shampoo, the scalp massage. We even have a shoulder massage, and the kids love it. And so it's pretty cute, actually, to see the kids in the chair, and they got a big smile on their face because they've never been through anything like this. So we do.
All right. So you said you wanted to describe the experience. Take me from walking in the door. What is my experience going to be like when I walk into Diesel Barbershop?
Yeah. First, what you notice is the decor, because it's a garage industrial theme. We got posters all over the wall. We got music playing. We have a rock bot service. You can actually pick your song if you want to, so folks can connect to that. People greet you when you come in. You're actually acknowledged when you come in. People say hello. You get offered a drink, a beverage of your choice. You can even get a craft beer if you want. And then shown what the various services are, sign you up. While you're waiting, typically it's not a very long wait. We take walk-ins. You can also make an appointment online. We've got arcade games at my shop. We've got Dig Dug and Space Invaders, good old classics from the day that you can come play. And then once you're taken back to the seat, then you talk with the stylist about what you want to do that day, what services you'd like to have done, and then go through, depending on what it is. Our base service, the Diesel Plus, with all those things I just mentioned, you're in the chair about 35 minutes. So it is definitely not a rush job, and you're relaxing there, and we got TVs at every station. And you can talk as much as you want or as little as you want. So we're not forcing people to talk.
And in that Diesel Plus, which you said is kind of the I guess the basic service, or the main service that most people do, talk exactly what those services would be.
Yep. So in addition to the cut, there's a shampoo and scalp massage that goes along with that. We have a back of the neck shave. We have a hot face towel, so while you got your head back, getting the shampoo and the scalp massage, hot face towel. And then the icing on the cake, cherry on the sundae, is the shoulder massage. We have some Oster massagers that do shoulder and kind of upper back. that is really nice. That is really nice. Very relaxing.
And the beginning part, while I'm waiting to go back to the chair, the Dig Dug and the drinks and maybe even a craft beer, is that included in the Diesel Plus
Oh,
price?
absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, we limit you to one beer, but we think that's fair.
All right, that's fair. And is that also serves if I walk in and I go right back to the chair, there's still a chance to hang out a little bit afterward.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, stay and play the game. We have lots of folks that do that, particularly the kids. The kids will come in and they'll play with their dad there, so they'll have before they leave.
And you don't have to put your quarter up on the top banner.
No.
That's a Google reference for the young millennials out there. Line up your quarter to see. It's my turn next.
Sounds like once you're there, you're never leaving.
I might not.
That Julian guy just won't go away.
It's the man cave, right? So you hang out in the cave.
Give an idea on the cost and pricing, please.
Yes. So the Diesel Plus starts at $35. We have some add-ons depending on what kind of fade you might want. If you want a razor fade, all sorts of variations there. A full face shave starts at $40. If you our full service menu option combines the Diesel Plus and a face shave, so you get a break off of that. So that is $60. We have other auxiliary services like an ear wax, which is, speaking as a little older gentleman, that is very nice. Get those pesky ear hairs out of there. So that's like $8. We also do nose waxing, which a lot of folks kind of wince when they hear that, but it's not nearly as bad as you think. It's just the inside of the nose, those pesky little hairs there. That's also $8. Then we do some brow waxing. And then we have some, in addition to the beard services you can do just a basic lineup edge up for $10, $15. Or we got a mega gnarly beard service, which, knock it down, trim it up, all that. And we also do some coloring. That's not really our focus, but we do some kind of blending. We call it camo coloring. So
the barbershop, were there considerations of calling you something other than a barbershop? Because you do so much more.
Right. Yeah, I know. And I left out all the products that we sell as well, the beard oils and the things that are, again, geared towards men's grooming. So, unfortunately, there's not really a good term, I don't think, besides barbershop. The kind of Barbershop Plus, maybe.
Yeah. And Diesel, you were just looking for the manliest name you could find. Diesel!
That's right. Our other tagline is men run on diesel. So, yes, that was absolutely done on purpose. So the garage, it all ties together.
Is the air freshener used inside the barbershop a slight
Oh, it definitely
garage?
Smells like gasoline.
Oh, I like
No,
that.
it does not. I'm kidding. No, it smells very nice.
But you actually, with the craft, because you have craft beer, you had to get a liquor license, correct?
No.
Or are there ways I don't know how that works.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
so
Breaking news.
I'm actually going out on a limb here, but it turns out that the Georgia law doesn't say a lot about giving alcohol away. There's lots of laws about selling it, but very little about giving it away.
Technically, they're not buying
That's
the,
it.
the beer. It's just
That's
like
exactly
They're
right.
not
water.
buying it.
Okay.
We
That's
absolutely
exactly right.
card everybody. You have to finish it there. You don't have to actually get a service to get a beer. Technically, somebody can come in and say, I want a beer. Okay. But you have to sit here and drink it.
Yeah, and you can't take it with you.
Pete, if you do any research and find out otherwise and this part of the show needs to go bye-bye, let us know. We'll make it disappear.
I appreciate that.
Yep. So talk about your background. How did you get to
Yeah.
where you are today?
Yeah, so I was in the corporate world for about 30 years. Actually, I was in engineering management, and I left that in 2017. And as I tell folks, it was not the case that, I left that and said, finally, I can do the men's barbershop that I've always dreamed about. What really happened was...
Is this something you've had, like when you were a little kid, I want to be a barbershop guy?
No, it was not. So, yeah, it was kind of a surprise to me as well. I did a lot of soul searching after I left the corporate world. Didn't really take a lot of thinking to decide that I didn't want to go back into the corporate world. Kind of had my fill of that. Looking around at various things, got in with a franchise broker, introduced me to some concepts, and this one really resonated, just the look and feel and the overall fun atmosphere of it. So that's what I did. So bought into it in 2018, and then our shop opened last May.
And are you looking to hire some more folks?
Absolutely. Always in the market for good barbers, master barbers. We also hire cosmetologists, but because we do a lot of the shaves and proper barber services, we do have an emphasis on barbers. But absolutely, contact me. People love to work there. I get a lot of folks, actually, that come in and say they've been in the business a long time, and they love it, but they're missing that spark. And people come in, see the shop and the premise, and they say, "This is what I'm looking for as an employee," which is really satisfying. So yeah, anybody out there that is looking for it or knows of somebody, send them my way.
And I would imagine at your shops, you get customers who try it out once or twice, and then they become clients because they're like, "This is what I've been looking for."
Exactly.
As well on the experience side of getting. And I would like to ask. Anyone who knows this show knows I have to ask this question. Men who are follically challenged, like myself.
I was going to get there.
Yeah.
And me.
Yeah. Well, so I was going to say, everybody look at the press photo for this show, and you'll see that Pete is a proud follically challenged
I'm even balder
man.
than you.
You
yes.
are balder than me. Actually, you shave it better than I do. So talk a little bit about
I have access to good folks. That
yeah,
do that.
and I was going to say, people who say, well, I just use my razor at home. Talk to them.
Yeah. So we absolutely offer services to any length of hair, which goes from none to really long. We have a service called Mr. Clean, which will shave everything off your head. Well, not your eyebrows, but the beard and the hair. But we have all sorts of variations on the razors that we use. That was one of the surprising things to me. I didn't realize before I got into the business how many different types of razors there are. But straight razors, we have what we call balding trimmers, which are amazingly, they're like an electric shaver, but it's amazing actually how good they are, because I have shaved my head with a razor and it's pretty smooth, and these balding trimmers are actually pretty comparable to that. So you can do that, or if the straight razor floats your boat, you can do that. All of that. However you want it.
Mr. Clean. I like that.
If the straight razor floats your boat,
whatever floats your boat,
Diesel Barbershop
is the place to be.
For those who'd like to find out more, Pete, about Diesel Barbershop, where can they get that information?
DieselBarbershop.com. All the locations are on there. We've got locations across the country. We're new to Atlanta since last year. But, if you want to find us, look there, and it should show up under Sewanee. It might show up as Shake Rag, which is the community name there. There's only about, 3 people that really know the term Shake Rag, but that's the name of the shopping center, the public shopping center at Shake Rag. So it may show up under that.
Actually, Sewanee, getting close to Johns Creek area.
It's right on the edge, right on the border.
Yeah.
That's why I use both of them. Not everybody knows Johns Creek, actually, so I was surprised. Like, I've been in Johns Creek for a while, so I do the Sewanee-Johns Creek combo.
I pass Shake Rag all the time. I always say
go.
Shaker Rag, but I'd
that's
Shake
what it looks
Rag.
like.
Yeah, so anyway. Pete, thank you very much. Sounds
Thank
like
you.
you're really enjoying what you're doing.
Oh, yeah, I love it.
Continued success.
Thank you.
All right, Pete Briggs with Diesel Barbershop here on Gwinnett Business Radio. And
do you want me to introduce the thing?
Yeah, why don't you introduce Martha?
Absolutely. We are excited to have in the studio today with us Martha Moore. She is with Impeccable Details Staging and Redesign. Martha, welcome to the studio.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Impeccable Details Staging and Redesign. I think I know what that is. It's a very descriptive business title, but break that down and tell us about what you do.
Okay, so what we do is we offer home staging and redesign services in Atlanta. We create a desired lifestyle based on coming in and creating details to get the home sold. We work closely with homeowners and real estate professionals. Those details create emotional connection points, and once those emotional connection points are created, it increases the potential for people to imagine seeing themselves and their families living there, and it helps sell the property.
So home staging, I'm getting ready to sell my home. There's probably a lot of people listening, and I'll put my hand up. I'm one of them. Do I really need a home staging? I mean, is that really something? Can I just put it on the market?
I think I know the answer she's going to give you.
Oh, I know the answer. Just sell me on that answer.
Well, I'm going to sell you as a scientist.
Oh, I like it. Now, that's not what I was expecting.
I know. But home staging truly is science. It's not just going in, decluttering the property, hiding a few things, shoving a few things under the bed in the closets, because home buyers are savvy. They want to look under the bed. They want to look in the closet. They want to look in the garage. So you really need somebody to come in and create those aesthetics and put things in perspective as based on the demographics of what the home is going to value for, increase the value for. A lot of people feel like, okay, it's going to be beautiful to their liking, but they have to realize that it's not what they see as beauty, it's what the potential buyers see. So sometimes you need a objective eye to see those things. Like, you can't see the stain on the wall because you've been living there 5 years. You can't see the clothes piled up in the corner. So you need a fresh pair of eyes to come in and help get your house in order, get it in ready position so it'll sell.
I can't imagine most people would disagree with that. I mean, they understand the importance of staging. The thing that might hold them back is, it's probably going to cost a whole lot of money. Give us an idea of how much cost we're looking at.
Okay, well, that's solely depending on if it's an occupied home, which the client is still living there, or if it's a vacant home. And it normally starts out with a consultation. The consultation for a vacant home will be $100. That $100 will be credited back to you if you choose our company as your staging company. And if it's an occupied resident, it's normally $250, but you get your money worth. I mean, it's a complete action plan to help you. I suggest paint colors. I suggest things that you need to buy, like if you need to lighten and brighten. So you get a for sure ready to go action plan to help get your home in ready position to sell before it enters the market, because your home will never be as valuable as it is than the first day it enters the market. So if you can't do it, if you're overwhelmed, I can come in and help you. That price starts at $500. When the home is completely vacant and it's a clean slate, that service starts at $1,800.
But I would think that investment comes back, though. I mean, obviously, Absolutely. If you stage it correctly, you sell the home quicker.
Absolutely.
Which you're saving money there.
And at a higher price. Or your
Most
price.
Most of my clients have the home is sales within 20 days for me as far as my numbers. And I've had them come back with between 6 to 25% more than the actual listing price.
And I just want to make sure so that in the vacant situation, the initial consultation is $100, and then your typical cost runs about $1,800, and that includes bringing stuff in.
Absolutely,
right.
and
So
I own all of my own inventory.
Oh, I like that.
I was going to say, that's the question I had. Unoccupied home. You're talking an empty house. You're bringing everything in. Where are you storing everything?
You've got a big unit.
So you
I have 3 storage units in my garage.
So you have everything.
I have everything.
Where did this passion come from? Where did it start?
Well, my mom, I feel like I really believe I got it from my mom. I've always had a strong affinity because of her.
That always happens. It never comes from the dad. Just an observation. I'm sorry.
Well, the dad's too busy hanging out in the man cave playing Dig Dug and getting a craft beer. And
taking advantage of all the shampoos and shoulder rubbs.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, but my mom, she would decorate every holiday, had a theme, and, she would always bake. And, I was like her. I don't know if I was her favorite, but I was always the one that was closest to her that helped her because I took, fancy in all the things that she did. So I think it really started with my mom, and I've always had a passion for it, but it was like in my real life, like my first career, I was a scientist, a clinical laboratory scientist. So I would always have my colleagues ask me to help them decorate. We need help painting the wall. We need help painting, picking out comforters. We need help getting our house in order. We're getting ready for a party. So I was always like, yay, I could tap into my creativity. So I was always super available if someone needed me. And I never looked at it like, oh my gosh, this is going to be work. It truly pulled me because I was so passionate about it.
So, did you notice at the very beginning of the interview she talked about the science behind home staging, and she was a clinical laboratory scientist?
Can I share a story about a friend of ours?
Are you asking me, or are you asking our guest?
I'm asking you.
Wow.
I want to just jump in and share a story of a friend of ours who is also in designing and staging a little bit, and she grew up as a babysitter. And when she was babysitting people's homes, like the little girls, the girls' dollhouse, she would actually redesign the dollhouse while she was there babysitting.
Yeah.
And this is when she was a little girl.
Oh, wow.
So she knew from when she was a little girl that she wanted to be in the designing business.
And that's how I felt. I was very passionate about science, but and as well as design, but I really thought I would navigate more toward animal science more than life science, but I still had a passion for design, so I was all over the place. Like left side of the brain, right side of the brain was completely all over the place.
So I'm wondering if also you said while you were a clinical laboratory scientist, people would ask you to help with their decorating. I'm wondering how much decorating is there done in labs? Did you
my gosh.
let's put the beakers over here. Let's put the
You have no idea. Everything is fine lined, straightened, color coded. I was crazy. Like, I had to have a system.
That's great. And it's important, right?
It's important for you to be able to operate. Yep.
Okay, so let me go back to money for just a second,
Okay.
because you did a great job of kind of laying out your services. Does everything need to be paid up front? Is there any way that the homeowner can go, okay, as long I do the initial, but can I roll a cost into when the house sells?
Yeah, but that's a good question. Another
Thanks.
thing I want to address while we're here is normally this service is paid for by the homeowner. There are some realtors who gift it to their clients as far as the consultation, but it's mainly paid by the actual homeowner / investor / builder, whoever is requesting the services. Okay. And initially, the consultation is paid up front, and for us to book and confirm the actual staging, 50% of it is paid at the time to confirm the appointment, and on install day, the remaining 50% is due.
Okay, that's fair.
There are other people that do what you do, Martha. I think you already know that.
Yes.
Why should we talk to Martha more? What makes you different from your competitors?
The thing I feel like that makes me different is my commitment. I'm completely dedicated. My word is my bond. If I set my mind to it and I tell you that I'm going to do it, I'm going to go through hell and high waters to make it happen. You can depend on me.
I'm sold. And I'll tell you the other thing that would sell me, and I don't know if anybody else listening just picked up on this, but when it comes to staging and it comes to decorating and all that, there's an art to that. There's no question there's an art to that. There's a like, dislike. But when you have someone coming from a scientific background, I don't know, that really would set me apart, that you found the design in your lab. Right. And there's going to be that element that I'm sure it still looks beautiful and wonderful, and there's that, and you got that from your mom as well. Mm-hmm. But there's this background of order and organization.
Absolutely.
And
it's huge.
It's absolutely. It's huge. That sets you apart as well.
We get results.
Amen.
That's what we do as scientists.
Bottom line,
get results.
Get it done. Get the house sold.
Absolutely.
So Steven's marketing advice to you is to do everything in a white lab coat.
No.
White lab coat.
I can make that happen.
Yeah.
I can make that happen.
Do
that's
not
what will set you
take
apart.
business advice from me in what you do. Trust me.
Okay.
Impeccable Details Staging and Redesign.
Yes.
People who want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do that?
They can go to my website, www.i-details.com. Or they can follow me on Instagram at ID Staging and Redesign, or they can follow my Facebook page, which is Impeccable Details Staging and Redesign.
So there's only the Facebook page. You have to have that nice long name typed out.
Yes.
I'm glad you didn't do that on your website. i-details.com. That's good.
Yes.
Martha,
short and sweet.
Thank you for joining us, and continued success.
Thank you.
Martha Moore joining us here on Gwinnett Business Radio. Also, our thanks to Pete Briggs with Diesel Barbershop and Amy Fuchs and Jen Falk with InFocusPlus for joining us on the program today. And a quick reminder that this show is available to listen to anytime, 24/7, by going to Business RadioX, select the Gwinnett studio, and then click on Gwinnett Business Radio. Also, you'll find this show on your favorite podcast app.
Mike, before we end the show, quickly, would it help or hurt getting the our podcast studio rented out if I were here or not here?
It'll look a lot bigger if you're not here.
I like that. Now, so
everyone's like, ooh.
So my negotiating with you is when you're negotiating to rent out the studio, just pay for me to have a day over at the Man Cave Barbershop, Diesel Barbershop, right?
Pete shaking his head, yes.
Yeah.
Deal.
And make sure that the studio is staged well. Yeah. So we accomplished a lot.
We'll have to see what Martha thinks on her way out.
I like that.
So Martha will stage it.
Yes.
Pete will take care of you at the barbershop.
Yes.
And Amy and Jen, they will get us the business.
That's right. I like that.
We've tied it all together.
I'm in.
We need to end the show on that. Be sure to follow us on social media at Gwinnett Radio X. Like us, share, do all that good stuff. We're all over social media. Other than that, time to say goodbye.
Goodbye, and I like these packed studios. Let's do it again.
We'll see you next time here on Gwinnett Business Radio.